Right, hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So winter is fast approaching now, so it's about time we did a bit more on the log splitter. So if you haven't seen part one, I'll link it in the description. Check that out, where I started making this big old log splitter. So I didn't video it because I didn't think it'd be that eventful, but that ram was still stuck out a little bit. So I tried knocking it in with a hammer, but you could see it was bouncing. So I thought there must be some air in it. So I took this little valve out of this end. There's a valve that goes in that middle hole. Then I put a ratchet strap from that hole down to the end and started ratchet strapping it in. And then it went all of a sudden and it sprayed oil everywhere. You might have noticed, well, you'll have seen anyway, my Magic Eye profiler is gone now because I've got that new machine that will do both jobs. So that milling machine has gone in that space. And I'm slowly getting things tidied up. I've set up a shipping container, so all the big stuff that was here, was in that Mercedes engine and the engine crane, and that big Miller welder, that's all gone in a shipping container. So I need to tidy this area up yet, but there's only so much tidying up you can do before you start losing the will to live. So yeah, all that is still to tidy up, but I'm getting there. After I'd covered everything in oil, I put a pipe in there and then winched it back in with a ratchet strap. So it's about all the way in now, but there's still, when you give it a whack on the end now with a hammer, you can feel it's up against something solid. So I think that is all the way in. I'm hoping it's all the way in anyway. What I've done so far is I've got the ram sat up parallel and I've checked it with my spring calipers at both ends of the ram. So I'm happy that that is parallel with a beam. What I was going to do is I was going to make something to clamp this end of the ram on, but a few people commented on the last video saying if I do that, I'll end up bending the ram. So you only want to be holding a ram at that end and this end, so that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, we're going to make this end, I don't know what you call it, the foot or whatever, that pushes on the log. So we're going to make that today. So I've worked out, because I know what that measurement is in there, and I've also measured the diameter, the outside diameter of that. So I've added that measurement on to half of that diameter, and that gives me bang on where my hole centre should be from the bottom of there. And then we've only got that much space. So I've measured everything, I've written it all down. So basically these are the measurements that we need to make this end bit. So it's going to be 400mm tall and 300mm down here, and then with bolts either side to clamp it on, and then it will slide up and down to this. I'm not sure whether this flange will be thick enough or not, whether I should double that up, I haven't decided yet. So that flange is 15mm thick, short 15mm. So I think I've got all the measurements I need from there now, so we'll go and draw this, see what it looks like on CAD, and then we'll cut it out. Right, so we're back in the house now. So we're on the laptop and we're going to draw the bits that I've just measured in the workshop. So I could have measured it, well, I measured it off the real thing because it might be a little bit different to the drawing. This hole might be a little bit different on the real thing because of when I milled it out, when I bought it out. And the end of the ram might be a little bit different as well. Although I did measure the travel of the ram, it might be a little bit different on the real thing than what it is on here. So that's why I've done the measurements off the real thing rather than from here. we've got that drawn up. It's been a bit of a faff about trying to get it to work properly on the assembly, but I think that'll be alright. So we've got the bottom plate with 5 bolt holes in it, the side plate which is tabbed, and then I've got the front plate with the holes tabbed in it, but I've made the tabs come through the holes, so they should act as like teeth into the log, so it doesn't slip out sideways. And then the side plate is tabbed as well into the bottom plate, just to make it easier to get it lined up, and then I can weld the tab hole in afterwards. And then on the other side I've made this strengthener plate, but I don't think I'm going to cut them out straight away. I'll cut the other plates out, tack it all together and see what it looks like, and then if it needs them, then I'll cut them out. So yeah, that's what that bit's going to look like. So there's a bit of a step there at the front, so I can get a weld down there. I'll weld round them tabs, weld it up solid. So yeah, there's just a clamps to go underneath there, but I don't think I need to draw them on here. I can soon work them out. Right, so we're on the CNC machine now. So I've got Onshape opened up. You can see that's the log splitter that I was drawing on the laptop, and all the parts are here. So I just need to save these as DFXs, and then I can open them up in the Kutavar software. So then in the Kutavar software, just go into the cam section, click on that one, and there are the 3 files that I need. Open them 3 up. So that's them there. I need 2 of them bits. So I click in the nesting one, I click on that one, tell it I need 2. Won't nest at the moment because I need to set my plate size. Which I do that in settings. So if I set that at 1 metre by 1 metre, and then go back to the nesting tool, tell it that I want 2 of them. Right, so that's fitted onto a 1 metre piece of plate. I'm not quite sure what size plate I've got yet, so I'll have to check that first, but I can move these about individually. You just click on them and you can move them to where you want them. So I'll go and see what plate I've got, bring a bit of plate in, set that up, and then can organise them again to where I want them. So I haven't actually got a big enough bit of plate to get everything cut out in one go, so I've got this bit on, and we should get these 3 bits out of that, and then I'll have to find another bit of plate to do the bottom, like the main plate. I'll get it lined up and ready to cut them out. So I've got them bits cut out, but I've made an absolute schoolboy error there. I've put the measurement in wrong. I put that measurement in as 870 instead of 780. So the annoying thing is as well, if I'd have turned all the parts round, I could have got all 3 parts out the plate size that I've got, but because I've done them long ways on instead of width ways on, now I can't get the other bit out. So that's balls that up. So that's them two cut out. Just cut them out pretty nice. A bit of a balls up here though. The lead in wasn't long enough, so where it pierced through and then all the metal stuck on top of the plate. When the torch came back round, it sort of caught up on like the slag on the top. So it hasn't quite cut all the way through on that one. It's done a nice job of this one. I think I need a longer lead out though, because there's a bit of lip there. And it was still stuck in the plate when I tried to lift it out. So it just wants a longer lead out as well. So I've got another bit of off-cut plate sat on there now. I can fit this out of. So I'm just going to alter the lead outs. I don't think there's any lead out, that's probably why. But I'll have to be careful when I pierce through that the slag from the pierce hole doesn't get in the way of the torch again like it did with the hole on the other one. So I'll have to be careful of that. So I'm still just having a bit of bother with the lead outs. It's just not quite nicking off the last bit, but they'll soon knock out. So I just want a little bit of a die grind out them holes and then that should fit nice. Right, so I've got another lump of offcut in. It's a pain in the arse having to use offcuts, but steel's too expensive not to use them up. So I'm going to cut this out now. So this should be a good test on how it performs cutting holes out, because holes are usually difficult to do with a plasma. So they're 18mm holes for a 16mm bolt. And usually on 15mm plate I'd use 85 amp consumables, but because I'm cutting holes out I'm using 65 amp, so So it should be more accurate, hopefully it'll be more accurate, and I need to hole. So that's base plate cut out as well, so the torch just got caught up a little bit on the slag on the top, so I'll have to die grind that bit out. The holes are alright, there's one or two that's a bit tight that'll need die grinding out, but no, they're a lot quicker than drilling holes. 5 seconds with a die grinder and they'll be good. Right, so I've got all that ground up, cleaned up. I've had to round the corners off them a little bit so they'd fit in there. But that all fits together now. So ideally now you'd weld it all together and then bore the holes through to size. But if I weld it all together, I won't be able to fit it in my milling machine because I haven't got my new one set up yet. So I'm still using my old milling machine. And I don't think I'd have a bar for me boring head long enough to go through to do both sides. So what I'll do is I'll tack these together and bore these through now to 2 1/4 inch, I think they are, and then we'll weld it together after I bore the holes. I think what I might do is I might just double up a bit of plate on this side. I did draw some, you'll have seen I drew some bigger plates to go all the way around here, but I don't think it'll need them. I'll just draw some little plates out that'll go around that hole, just to double up that thickness, so it's pushing on 30mm either side rather than just 15. Yeah, so I've just altered this from it was that, I've altered it to that. So then when you click on the assembly, that's what it'll look like. So that should do just to double it up. So I've just done that quickly, stood at the computer for the CNC table. So that's a good thing about this. Right, so that's them bits cut out and then welded on. So I just have to wait for them to cool down, and then I should have done it first really. I should have tacked or welded them back to back, and then it'd have saved me a job, but I'll wait for them to cool down and then I'll tack them back to back, and then we'll bore them through. Right, so I think we're about set up now. It's all clamped down. I put the edge finder on that edge there and moved it up 178.2 millimeters. That's sat straight on there, so that should be square in the machine. Just to say, touching off on our side of the hole. So I think we should be alright at that. Right, so that is that bored out to size now. It measures about a tenth over, so that should be good. Tenth of a mil, that is. I used a dial gauge to move this out because it's imperial is a gauge, and I don't really work in imperial, so it's just easy for me just to put the dial gauge on and move it out in millimeters. I can unclamp that from there now, take it off, and then separate these plates again. So we've got them separated. So I'll chop a length of pin off now, so we can put the pin through and start tacking it onto the base plate. So I've got that all put together. I had to give it a bit of a smack. Well, when I welded these on, obviously because I welded on one side, it bowed these a little bit. So they took a bit of knocking into this bit. And then it took a bit of knocking in, still a bit tighter than bottom tabs into that bottom plate. But it's all fit together now. That pin will be difficult to get out, but that can be a problem for future me, like tomorrow. But anyway, we'll tack all this down. I'll probably weld this plate to the bench, and then we'll weld these on first, and weld the top side of them tabs. And then when that's cooled down, I'll weld down here. Doesn't matter so much if this bows, but I want to keep that bottom plate flat if I can. Well, I think the torch is about had it spraying water out of it, look. It looks like I need a new water-cooled torch. Right, we're back up and running again now. I've got a new torch. It's not quite as big as my old one. It's an MB25, where I think I was on an MB36 before. But it will get me going. Well, it'll probably do anyway, to be fair. But yeah, I'll probably get another one and keep one as a spare for in case I have this problem again. So there's a bit there I'll have to grind out because when it started leaking it was getting water into the weld. So I'll grind that bit out and then we'll carry on welding. Right, so that's that welded down to the base. I've triple welded it all the way around. It's probably a bit overkill, but it's better overkill than underkill. So we'll wait for that to cool down and then do the same, weld that on. But while I'm waiting for it to cool down, I think I'll cut the bits of plate out that I'm going to use for the clamps underneath. So that's them cut out, so the plates to go underneath there and the spacers, obviously still need cleaning up yet. I was thinking about cutting them out 30mm and then milling a slot out of them, but I'll try it like this for now. It's quicker and easier doing it like that. So now this is cooled down, we'll chop this off, turn it over and weld up the other welds. Right, so that is that all welded up now. The pin is in. It was a little bit tight as a pin, which I knew it would be after I'd welded it up. So I cheated a little bit and I took a little bit out of the hole with one of these little stones and then polished it up with a sanding wheel in the die grinder. So just that and that, just to make the hole a little bit bigger. Now the pin fits nice. If it was anything else, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have, I'd have line barred it properly, but because it is just a head for a log splitter, it's perfectly fine as that. Also plasmaed out these plates and spacers, so see how it goes with them, but I might have to make something more rigid or more stronger in the future. And then again I just had to tickle them out with a die grinder just to get a bolt to fit because they were a little bit tapered. Ideally I should have plasmaed them out another 1/2mm bigger and they'd been alright. Yeah, so that's that lot made. So I think we can sit this onto the log splitter now and see how it fits together. Right, so that is that on there. So I haven't got any proper bolts yet, so I've just put them in for demonstration purposes. I'll probably have to put an Allen bolt in there because a bit of a design fault. I didn't quite leave enough space for a normal bolt, but anyway, I can put an Allen bolt in there, still get it tightened up. So there's clearances everywhere, it needs clearances. And it lined up bang on when I had my box section and my spacer underneath. I didn't have to lift it up to get the pin through, I just had to twist the ram to get the eyelet level. So I think that'll be tall enough. So it's a bit of a funny looking thing. Doesn't help when this is so big, but it's just what we found in the scrapyard, so that's why I'm making it out of that. So I'll have to get the pipe. I'll have to get the ram piped up now, and then I can shove that right to the end, and then see how much space I've got to make the knife at that end. I think that'll do for part 2. So I'm only doing bits as and when I've got time. So that's why it's been such a long time between part 1 and part 2. But I say winter's coming, so I need to get it finished really. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.